product which we offer, which is based on high-end technology. We call it micro-insurance technology, and the reason for that is just micro-insurance. We try to attract a vast number of people in the hundreds of thousands or even millions with very low premiums and limited cover or low cover for a short period of time. And that seems to be working very well in Africa, Namibia, and so forth.
Now, these are sectors like your microfinance and education sector where there does appear to be a great scope for growth. There appears to be not so much taking market share as creating market.
Yeah, that might be the situation, but you know, our micro lending book is a very specific and peculiar book. We only give microloans to people who want to further their studies, and as you know, with the legacy issues in Africa and our part of the world, the market, you know, we cannot saturate the market. The market is endless, that's a place we want to be at, and play. And more importantly, it's also to us socially, you know, uplifting, to give a person not only a micro loan, but to also give him a proper education.
The South African business, you talk about an upsurge in revenue there by 18% from 263 million Namibian dollars to 309 million. You say the experience calls for a revamp in the business model applicable to South Africa to be in line with the high-riding Namibian business. In other words, it sounds as if the South African business is not where it should be compared to the Namibian business. What does that mean? What are you going to do to add, as you say, focusing on the ownership of a greater part of the value chain? What are you actually going to do there?
Yeah, in the insurance business, I think, especially in our market, it's a situation where you sit with a instance where you need to own the value chain and not only part of it. For instance, that's what the direct insurers are doing at the moment, and we are planning in South Africa to definitely make sure that we own, you know, the largest part, if not the whole value chain.
Looking at, you've also got properties. I mean, this is a diverse group. Tell us about the property sector.
Well, property in Namibian, property in South African, property in the other areas that we operate are different. This is a Namibian-only business. We only do property development and mortgage loans in Namibia. As you can see, property contributed about 40+% this year to bottom line earnings. It was a great ride for the properties. We invested in those properties 7-8 years ago. At a very low entry point, and it has now grown into the market, and we're selling it at good margins.
The education sector, that's an area that you're in now. Namibia not obviously far from South Africa, and we've got huge problems in the education sector, and there are big opportunities for private education suppliers in South Africa, and they're certainly moving into that market. Whether they can solve the problem is another debate. But you talk about disparities in education. It sounds a similar issue to South Africa, and you said you've got adequate funding to meet the expected continuous demand. So how do we measure that demand? Give us a picture of the state of play in education in Namibia and how you propose to take advantage of it.
Yeah, certainly. I can maybe just indicate to the listeners that we do not only provide education, but we also provide the loan for that education. So it is a burning fire which need to be stoked, and the demand in Namibia is huge. I can give you an indication. In Namibia, there are 23,000 school dropouts annually who's being down on the streets, who just cannot finish their schooling in the formal sector. And through the distant model, we pick up on those students and make sure that they get a proper education and be a worthwhile, you know, citizen.